Her hands trembled as she held the doctor's report, the words blurring through tears she couldn't fight anymore. Her daughter, little Aisha, needed a bone marrow donor immediately, and the chances of finding a match were painfully small. Zara felt the hospital walls closing in around her, every breath tight, every heartbeat a reminder that she was running out of time. For 6 years she had raised Aisha alone, working double shifts, sacrificing sleep, dreams, and any hope of love just to keep them afloat. And even in the hardest days, she had never once regretted choosing to walk away from the men who once promised her the world, the men who shattered her trust so deeply she had vowed never to look back. But now, sitting in the sterile hospital room, watching her daughter sleep with tubes around her tiny arms, she knew she would walk through fire for her child, even if that fire was him. When Dr. Samir entered again, his expression softer, almost apologetic, she braced herself for the worst, but nothing could have prepared her for what he said next. "We found a match," he told her gently, "but Zara, it's someone you know." Relief rushed through her, until he said the name she had avoided for years, Rayyan Malik. The billionaire entrepreneur. The man who built empires, broke hearts, and years ago broke hers more ruthlessly than anyone else could. The man who didn't know Aisha existed. Zara felt the ground vanish beneath her feet. Memories flashed in her mind, the laughter they once shared, the night he swore he loved her, and the morning she discovered the truth that destroyed everything. She had never wanted to see him again. She had never wanted him near her life. But fate was merciless, because now her daughter's life depended on the one person she vowed to stay away from forever. She took a trembling breath and stood up. There was no choice. Aisha came first. Always. Taking a taxi to the towering glass headquarters of Malik Enterprises felt like walking into a storm with no umbrella. The guards almost didn't let her in until she gave her name. Apparently, it still meant something to him. The elevator ride felt endless, every floor a reminder of the years she had spent trying to rebuild herself, to forget him. When the doors finally opened, she found him standing in his sleek office, tall, composed, the same piercing eyes she once trusted now widening in shock when he saw her. "Zara." His voice cracked the tiniest bit, just enough to reveal he wasn't as unshakable as he looked. She had rehearsed what to say 100 times on the way here, but when she met his gaze, her courage faltered. Still, she forced the words out. "I don't want anything from you. This is about my daughter." At the word daughter, Rayyan froze, confusion and something deeper flickering across his face. She handed him the medical file with trembling fingers. "Aisha needs a donor immediately. You're the only match." For a moment, silence swallowed the room. Then he looked up, eyes darker, voice steady but shaken. "Why didn't you tell me I had a child?" She expected anger. Instead, she found heartbreak. Zara swallowed hard. This wasn't the time for old wounds. "We can talk about that later." "Please, she doesn't have much time." Rayyan didn't hesitate. "Let's go." The weeks that followed were a whirlwind she never anticipated. Rayyan went through every test, every procedure without a single complaint, as if each needle was a penance for the years he lost. Zara stayed by Aisha's side night and day, and Rayyan, despite his empire, his wealth, his responsibilities, spent every spare moment in the pediatric wing, learning her favorite colors, reading her stories, and sitting silently beside her bed as if memorizing every detail of the daughter he didn't know he had. Zara noticed the small things, the way he watched Aisha breathe, the way he smiled when she giggled in her sleep, the way his voice softened when he spoke to her. And slowly, painfully, memories she had locked away resurfaced, memories of the men he used to be, the men she once loved. But she reminded herself that this wasn't about them. This was about saving Aisha. Yet, when Rayyan finally told her the truth she never expected, everything inside her shifted. Years ago, she believed he betrayed her, chose his pride and business over their love, left her alone in the moment she needed him most. But he revealed something she had never known: his disappearance wasn't by choice. He had been sabotaged, manipulated, and cut out of her life by someone who stood to gain from their separation. He had tried to come back. He searched for her. He wrote to her. But none of it reached her. And by the time he rebuilt his world, she was gone. Zara didn't know what to believe at first. Pain had been her armor for too long, but the sincerity in his voice, the way he looked at Aisha with fierce protectiveness, and the documentation he showed her slowly cracked the walls she built around her heart. The day of the transplant arrived like a storm and sunrise all at once. Zara held Aisha's small hand, whispering prayers with every breath. Rayyan placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder as they wheeled Aisha away, his voice low. "I'm here. And I'm not leaving again." Hours felt like years. Every second stretched thin with fear. But when the doctor finally emerged, smiling with relief, Zara nearly collapsed. "The procedure was successful," he said. "Aisha is responding well. She's going to recover." Zara cried harder than she ever had, tears of gratitude, of release, of hope reborn. When she saw Rayyan resting in the donor recovery room, pale but alive, something inside her broke open. She sat beside him, whispering, "Thank you for saving her." He looked at her, eyes soft. "She's my daughter. And you were always my heart." Weeks passed, and Aisha grew stronger, laughing again, drawing again, filling the world with the sunshine she had almost lost. Rayyan visited every day, sometimes with toys, sometimes with flowers, sometimes just to sit quietly with them, as if making up for all the years stolen from him. Zara found herself smiling more, trusting more, seeing the men he had become, the men who didn't just save her daughter, but who had transformed through pain, loss, and love. Still, fear lingered. She wasn't ready to fall again. But one evening, as they watched Aisha paint clumsy stars on construction paper, Rayyan gently reached for her hand. "I don't want to replace your life," he said softly. "I want to be a part of it. Of hers. Of yours. Whatever pace you choose. Just don't shut me out again." Zara looked at Aisha, her miracle, her fighter, her reason for everything, and she knew the truth. Some stories weren't meant to end in heartbreak. Some were meant to be rewritten, and so, with a tentative smile and a heart finally ready to heal, she whispered, "Let's start over." Aisha giggled between them, paint on her cheeks, tiny hands reaching for both of theirs, binding them together in the simplest, purest way. The millionaire who once broke her heart had saved the one life that mattered most, and in doing so, he had unknowingly saved hers too. Their story wasn't perfect. It wasn't easy. But it was real. It was theirs. And it was just beginning. If you want more emotional stories like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Your support inspires us to create more powerful and heart-touching stories for you.